Hi friends, it's Danielle with Take Care Mama, and I have a book haul for you today. If you've noticed, I've been doing a lot more book content on my channel. I have just fallen back in love with reading the past several months. And I am mainly a library person, but I have been loving going to the Goodwill. Our local Goodwill has great books. Every time I go there, I'm like, good job, neighbors. You have great taste. And so over the past, I would say 2 months, I've accumulated quite a few books, and I thought I would show you. Like I said, most are from the Goodwill. I would love to know, what are the prices of books at your Goodwill or a similar store? Mine are $1.50 no matter what, hardcover, paperback, it doesn't matter what kind of quality they're in. So I would love to know that. And I think I got one on Amazon, though used, like a third party, and I don't know. I'll tell you as I go. So this is from the Goodwill. It is a Stephen King. Every time I see a Stephen King, I buy it. I'm a little new to Stephen King, and I'm trying to read one Stephen King a month. So this is Rose Madder. I don't know much about this at all. What I do know is people have told me, people who know me tell me that I will really like Misery. And I've heard from other people that those who like Misery like Rose Madder. So we'll see if that's correct. There are 2 things to test out here. Next, I have The Alchemist. I actually got this from a fellow YouTuber. She was selling her used books. And I don't know if it was her who did this, but someone left some notes. They didn't write in it, but they did a little highlights with some stickies. I love that about used books. I love to see what other people highlighted or little notes they wrote in. And I actually did read this. I read this last month and I loved it. Did I say what it was called? The Alchemist. Loved it. This is 5 stars. Definitely will reread it. Definitely glad I own it. From that same YouTuber, I got Specimen Days by Michael Cunningham. I'm actually reading this next week. And I love Michael Cunningham's The Hours. It's one of my favorite books. It is my favorite movie. And I'm very excited about this to see what it's all about. A Man Called Ove by Frederick Backman, Goodwill. I think this is my favorite Goodwill find yet. I read Anxious People a couple months ago by this author and loved it. It is the best book I've read in years. And so I was so excited to find this by him, and I cannot wait to see if I like his other works as much as I loved Anxious People. Water for Elephants. This was kind of a random one. I've been hearing about this since it came out. It says 2006, so it's been quite a while. And I've always wondered maybe I should read this, and someone wrote a suggestion on one of my videos that they just read this and really liked it. And then the very next day this popped out at me, and I thought, you know what? Let's give this a read. And I could be wrong about this, but I participated in NaNoWriMo. I'm not wrong about this part. I did do this. I participated in NaNoWriMo in November. That's where you write 50,000 words toward a novel in 1 month. And I think this book was part of that. This author wrote her first draft during a NaNoWriMo community event. And then it went on to become highly successful. So that makes me really excited to read this. I love the backstories. Okay, Frankenstein is something that I have never read, and it was on my TBR, and I found it at the Goodwill. It's in pretty good condition. And it seems short, but it's very dense and no page breaks for chapters. Aww. I got James and the Giant Peach for my son James. I hope to read this with him. We read by the same author, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, a 1.5 years ago. And if you have a kid, that is a really fun read aloud. I really loved it. And I don't think I've ever read James and the Giant Peach, so I'm hoping my son will humor me. The Count of Monte Cristo. I tried to take this sticker out. I need to get some essential oil and get that out. But this is my husband's favorite book, and I found this at the Goodwill, and it is in pristine condition. I think it's a Barnes & Noble, yeah, Barnes & Noble Classics collection. And it's perfect, $1.50, and he's so happy. The Rules of Magic has been on my TBR, so I was excited to find this. This is about witches. I love books about witches. And this was a Reese Witherspoon pick for her book club, which I can't remember what it's called. I'm sure you know. I like this cover. I'm a big cover snob. We've got another Stephen King, not in great condition, but you know, it's loved. This is The Dark Tower. I believe this is fantasy and a series. This is the first, I hope it's the first of a series. I'm not a big series person, but maybe I am and I don't know it yet. But I'm gonna do this. I think even maybe next month, I'm gonna try to sneak this in at the end. It's nice and short. Stephen King sometimes can be really long. It's 300 pages. The Hours by Michael Cunningham. I talked about this before when talking about Specimen days. You don't need to see it again. I love this. I rewatched the movie a month ago, and it reminded me that for sure it's my favorite movie of all time, and I would love to reread the book, which I also adored. I lightly mentioned that I'm working on my own novel, and as I'm doing that, I really am loving to reread other stories and to look at it from a different lens and to see how, as an artist, they put things together and the choices they made. I love this so much. You should read this, and you should watch the movie. Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman, Julianne Moore. 13 Reasons Why, Goodwill. This was a total impulse buy. I never really wanted to read this very strongly, but I have watched a few shows on Netflix and I really liked it. I think the content is really important. And yeah, now that I have it, I definitely want to read it. Sometimes you don't know what you want to read until you find it at the Goodwill for $1.50. We have The House of Leaves. I got this on Amazon from a third-party seller. It is used. It's in great condition. I'm so intimidated by this book. I'm reading this in, what's next month? March, for Books and Lala's book club, the Literally Dead book club. This is horror, weird. I'll show you. And some people even say it's kind of a love story, but the main hype about this book is the experience reading it. Each page is very unique. Weird font. Some of it you read in front of a mirror. Some of it is just like a couple lines. Some of it is very crowded. Some is upside down. Exhibits. Footnotes upon footnotes. I don't know if I'm smart enough for this book. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna show you one more crazy page. This isn't that crazy, but it just shows you contrast. This is just a page full of text. I've heard it's a little claustrophobic to read this book. By the way, the premise, which I also don't even understand, is a family moves into a house and soon they realize that the inside of the house is larger than the outside of the house. I don't understand that. I'm going to try this. I'm going to give it a go. I've set out 2 weeks for this. It's very long. I feel like it's going to be very difficult for me. I'm going to give it a go. 50-50 chance I finish this. I was excited to find this from the Goodwill because it is on my TBR. It's actually one of the books in my 21 books I want to read in 2021, The Death of Mrs. Westaway. It's not in great condition, but you know, $1.50. We're getting kind of down to it. Okay, who's here? I got Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. This is another Barnes & Noble classic in pretty much perfect condition. I got this because Specimen Days references Leaves of Grass often. Side note, maybe one of you can help me. I read a book in 2005 because I was in Europe and I remember, and it was like a dystopian. Was it dystopian? I feel like one of the threads might have been dystopian. One of the threads was in the New York Industrial Revolution. It was based on a true story where a factory packed with women sewing caught fire. That was one of the threads. And it incorporated Walt Whitman often. Like, I thought the book was called Leaves of Grass, the novel that I'm looking for. I want to find that book. I want to read it again. I think about it all the time and I can't find it. Like, not that I can't source it. I can't remember what it's called. I can't find it on the internet. So if anyone knows what I'm talking about, I was almost hoping that that's what this is, but I don't think it is. I'll let you know. Okay. The Witch of Portobello. I got this because he is the one, Paulo Coelho, I don't know how to say his name. He wrote The Alchemist, which I loved. So I just picked this up because maybe he's one of my new favorite authors. And it's nice and short. Two more, they're both big. Feeling Good by Dr. Burns, and this is in really good condition. The next two are in good condition. $1.50. I have been very changed because of this man. I have read his other book, Calling When Panic Attacks. He is a doctor and writes a lot about mental health issues, depression and anxiety. And When Panic Attack is more about anxiety from what I know. And it has helped me so much. Therapy helped me too, but I would almost argue that the tools I learned from When Panic Attacks helped me as much or more than therapy. I hope that's not dangerous to say. Totally love therapy. But this is his first book. I think it's more geared toward depression. For $1.50, I really wanted to have this on hand. I think there are probably like some worksheets in here. Yep. And like great things. If you are dealing with depression or anxiety, I really recommend checking him out. He talks a lot about things that you can do that are not medical. I, for one, am proudly on antidepressants. However, I gain so much from his work. I literally think about this man and what I've learned from him multiple times a week. I use his tools all the time. Lastly, another king, a hardcover, and look at this cover. Desperation. It is a monster, very good condition. Do you love to smell books? I don't know a ton about this, shocker, but I think it's about a town people pass through on road trips often, like it must be in the middle of nowhere off of a freeway or highway, and it doesn't seem like the friendliest of towns. I've seen a lot of people on Instagram and BookTube. Stephen King, I didn't know this, but he writes as a pen name sometimes, and so there is a companion book to this, but it's not by Stephen King, it's by his pen name. And you put them together here, and this scene is extended on the cover of the other book, which seems super cool. I kind of want that book just to have it. Look at that doll. I'm really excited. So those are the books. I think I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from collecting books until I get some of these read. I'm gonna try to get a couple done from this pile each month so that I actually read them and they don't just sit on a bookshelf. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. Give this video a thumbs up, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.